Miguel O'Hara.
The whole thing was his idea.
I can't even whack off unless I think about myself.
To let you in on a little secret, I really don't know how to open a video about a movie that's already been universally praised. What do you want from me? It's great. Probably my favorite Spider-Man movie to date. The grounded personal drama of Miles' family and double life don't get forgotten for the higher multiversal stakes at hand.
Oh yeah, you were supposed to be here at 5.
Alright, whatever.
Whatever?
Wow.
Whatever?
Unlike another movie. But we're not there yet. The score, both original and licensed, goes unbelievably hard. I've listened to Hummingbird and Start Your Own Band on repeat since I've heard it. The animation is so visually beautiful that I felt the animator's soul die just making a single frame of this. I don't care what they're being paid, double it. The characters are great, from Miles still keeping the exaggerated swagger of a black teen, to Gwen, who really is the core and secondary protagonist of this film. Peter B's baby shenanigans were fun and a sad reminder of where we are with comic book Peter.
Hi, I'm Paul.
Miguel is intimidating and definitely me. Puppy Terror is a cinnamon roll that deserves nothing bad to happen to him ever. And Hobie, my beloved.
Hi, my name's Obi Brian. I was bitten by it. That's enough, yeah, man. And for the last 3 years, I've been the one and only. Wait. You think I'm gonna show you my secret identity? Come on, out there.
I wish British people existed. 9 out of 10, go see it. Especially if you've seen Ant-Man 3. That felt like an AI-generated movie compared to this.
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Now, why am I here if I just speed ran my review of it? Well, maybe to add another aspect of the conversation to this film, and better articulate my thoughts on a film I made like 5 videos on already. This film perfectly showcases why No Way Home as a multiverse film doesn't work on its premise of multiple Spider-Man. Starting first with aesthetics. Obviously, the biggest division between the Spider-Verse films and No Way Home is the style with which they're filmed and styled to be. With animators not having to worry about the physics of a real human body, they can animate all the exaggerated swagger of a black. Already made that joke. All the exaggerated poses and dynamic movements of Spider-Man using different perspectives and techniques to accentuate that. Along with that, they're able to truly express the differences of each Spider-Man by giving them a style. When you see Spider-Punk compared to 2099, compared to Noir, compared to Ham, you can tell everything about their character based on their build, the look, and the way they choose to animate them. Punk is a part of this border that is constantly changing, look and color like a punk rock poster, but also details his non-belief in consistency and his rebellious nature. Gwen's world is this pastel watercolors feel that fits her isolation from the world around her, and symbolizes her rift from her dad as the colors of the room around them change from blues to white. It's a masterpiece that not only showcasing their differences, but also unifies the idea that these differences don't make them less of Spider-Man. Now compare this to No Way Home, which looks boring, lifeless, and gray. And the camera work does nothing to really feel like worlds are colliding. I remember either Watts or a producer stating they used techniques from the Raimi films during the Doc Ock fight, but I honestly can't tell where.
Don't worry, ma'am! I'm coming!
Is this it? That's how you pay tribute to a man whose style completely dismantles the idea of keeping the camera steady during bombastic moments of action and swinging? When Andrew comes into this world, does Webb's fast, exciting, you feel like Spider-Man swinging come across at all? No, not really. None of these things come through at all, and it just conforms to the standard MCU template. Just having these characters in your film isn't enough. If it doesn't feel like their world, then you don't have the characters. You just have the actors in the costume as an excuse for people to clap, distracting them from the fact it isn't really the characters they love from those movies. But that gets into a bigger problem with MCU's failure to break out of their box when it comes to their Earth-based heroes. Speaking of which, let's discuss a few smaller points that deal with just the problem of the MCU Spider-Man trilogy, and how Miles' story resonates more. Another aspect to Miles' story that helps build his character and make the audience understand who he is the setting of Brooklyn. The borough feels alive, with Miles conversing with the people in corner stores, the friends he says hi to walking across, each looking distinct, or just seeing a kid lick the glass of a subway train. It shows him being a man of the people. It makes us know what's at stake if it's threatened. All these people with lives, families, you feel it. And in turn, the journey to protect this place isn't just plot stakes, it's character stakes, as this place defines his identity. With MCU Spider-Man, outside of Homecoming, New York feels like any other backdrop, so much so that the sequel is a globetrotting adventure, and in No Way Home, he was all game to move to Boston. Peter Parker is a New Yorker. He's not called the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man for nothing. He talks to people, helps them out with their mundane problems, and when he's not in the costume, unlike the Avengers or the FF, he goes back to a crappy apartment just trying to get by. This is another problem of the shared universe approach affecting Spider-Man so harshly. A sense of status quo or supporting cast is forgotten to benefit outside sources, like the multiverse or the death of Iron Man. Happy Hogan should never be the most substantial supporting character in a Spider-Man series. That's why I think if Watts was given free reign after Homecoming, we'd maybe get more in depth with Aunt May, Ned, MJ, Flash, Mr. Delmar, Mr. Harrington, all the other characters that are just one-off scenes in this trilogy. Because it's clear he wanted to do a low-key high school-centered trilogy where he fights lesser-known villains. Oh god, why am I even talking about this nonsense? The biggest selling point of No Way Home and the Spider-Verse was seeing different Spider-Men from media crossover and interact, along with making that stupid meme happen 3 times now. Seriously, enough of that. Let's start with Tobey and Andrew. Everyone was excited to see them come back to play these characters. Everyone except me, because I hate fun. I just didn't see any reason to have them in Tom's closing trilogy, because it had the potential of only taking attention off his arc for cheap nostalgia fuzzies to the people who hated him, and didn't care to see him get to being a classic Spider-Man through an unconventional journey. Everyone hated him having mentors and other heroes, despite it being shown that he admired them in the Lee Ditko days, but 2 other Spider-Man giving him the great power speech or teaching about sacrifice wouldn't feel like treating him like a stupid baby who doesn't know anything already. So how are they used in No Way Home? Well, they had one scene where their importance is having Peter accept May's death and moving forward, which could have been filled by a bunch of other characters. Then they just helped stop the Nefarious Five with no real distinct characteristics that make seeing all 3 together interesting. Now compare this to Into or Across the Spider-Verse, where multiple Spider characters, while not given deep characterization, showcase to Miles that differences make him a unique Spider-Man. We also get different dynamics and personalities that conflict with his. Peter B is a cynical, worn-down hero who has to deal with the wide-eyed novice Miles through the film. Miles learns the practical means of being Spider-Man.
Here's lesson number 1, kid. Don't watch the mouth. Watch the hands.
And Peter finally takes the leap of faith that left him stuck in place before then.
How do I know I'm not gonna mess it up again?
You won't.
Right. Hate to leap of faith.
With Across emphasizing this growth.
You're the reason I had her, okay? I thought that if I did a decent job raising her, that there was a chance she was gonna turn out like you. And that got me excited because you are a wonderful person, and I like being around you.
Gwen and Miles are around the same age, but at very different stages of their career. Miles helps her open up to letting people in after the death of someone she cares about, and builds a strong bond from it. That trinity of characters is the core set that matters in this story, and we see them grow as people. Now, what dynamic does Tom have with Tobey or Andrew? They all quip, joke, and they like each other. Neither learns something from the other. You'd think Tom would have opinions on Andrew openly killing Electro, or Tobey having to face Norman and Otto again, but outside of references and jokes, no serious introspection happens. I guess you can say Andrew saving MJ gives him closure, or that Tom needs them to build the cures, but we don't see what getting that closure does for him when he returns home. And for me, seeing Spider-Man take on his greatest villains using only his ingenuity and willpower is more tense than seeing 3 of the same character doing it. The former idea of Andrew not feeling like he has a fully realized arc potentially comes from No Way Home not being a Spider-Verse movie. It's a multiverse film with Spider-Verse in the final act, when all the character decisions and actions are already set. So why should I care that 2 people who've had no control over the plot or were even discussed finally show up? It's like if Wolverine appeared in Avengers Endgame. Yes, I like Wolverine, and it's cool to see him interact with other heroes, but this isn't about him. You can't expect me to care about his arc or his journey when it isn't tied to the ones you've spent nearly 2 hours setting up. I guess that's the core where Spider-Verse succeeds and No Way Home fails. The idea of multiple Spider-Man being the story was already set up and built upon for Miles' arc of diverting from their path to matter, rather than it being for fan service that led Tom Peter to discarding what made him different to conform to what others expected. Considering I'm crapping on the biggest movie of all time, I expect strong disagreement on what I've said, but that's the fun of art. We can all see different things from it, good or bad, so please leave a comment if you feel that way, or maybe see where I'm coming from. Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out just a year from now, and I can't wait to see where Miles, Peter, and Gwen's arc go. Oh no. Actually, you can release it 30 years from now. I can wait.